Calling the meeting to order. Joe, you got your flag ready?
Flag is ready.
Okay. So,
together.
See if we can do it together.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
and to the republic
stands
for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's a proof of latency in our IP stuff here. So, all right, roll call, Tammy.
It looks like we have all our board members present this evening. But wait a minute. Sorry. Oh, look, Roscoe's here. No, we have Brian is missing, I think, as of the moment, and he's joining us. He may be a few minutes late. Yeah.
Do we have to declare where we're at?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Rick Hamill.
Here in Highland.
I am here in Highland. Jenny Frederick.
Here, Highland.
Judy Cooper.
Here in Highland.
Beth Lewis.
Here, Highland.
Joe Salvia.
Here in Highland.
Okay. And we'll ask Brian when he gets here.
All right, the next item is the agenda, and we got a couple of corrections, or a correction to make. And what we're going to do under new business, item D, we're going to do, I'm going to pull that off of the agenda for tonight, and we'll be probably readdressing it at a special board meeting on the 15th of March.
Is it, did you say D as in dog?
Yep, the proposed purchase of potential park and cemetery land.
Okay.
So, and then, let's see. I think that is it on the agenda. So,
Would move to approve the agenda as amended.
Support, Salvia.
okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamill?
Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so the next item is the consent agenda approval. Can we get a motion to?
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support, Lewis.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe? Oh, he's not here. Mr. Hamill?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I mixed up because we're missing a person. Okay.
All right, so before we go any further on this, in that consent agenda approval is an appointment for planning commissioner. And I'd like to, Kevin, I think you're on board here, Kevin Curtis. So I want to let everybody know that Kevin Curtis, who was my competition in this past election, expressed that he'd like to serve on the planning commission. We have a seat that we opened up. And so you've been appointed by the board at this point to be a new member of the planning commission with your term ending March 1st, 2024. So Kevin, thank you very much for standing up. This will be a good opportunity for you to get on the inside and see what happens inside the building. So thanks for taking this opportunity and position. So we'll move on to the next part, announcements and information. The Highland Township offices will be closed Good Friday, April 2nd, 2021. And then I've got a couple of notes I need to make. I don't know how many of you knew Al Evans, but Al was, I think, in competition for Roscoe for photography on Highland. Al was a people person. He took photos of people, and that was his big thing, people relating to Highland. Tremendous photographer. He passed this weekend. Unfortunately, he didn't make it through on his illness that he had. So he's going to be missed very much. Super guy, just a super person. And then on a brighter note, I think the oldest man in Highland, I may be wrong on that. I hope I'm wrong, but Mr. Roscoe Smith, I don't know, is Roscoe on board or not?
Yeah, he's muted though.
Oh, well, he can't speak then. So anyways, I don't know how many of you know that Roscoe, I want to give a little tribute to him. So he was born a long time ago. March 10th, 1931, in case you didn't know. The roads in Highland were grass 2 tracks. Chief Pontiac had just pulled up his teepee stakes, and as Roscoe sprouted into a tall, slender kid, he began his path towards becoming what we all know today. He's the keeper of the image of Highland. As I just said about photography, I don't know Roscoe, but I bet you've got maybe 60, 70,000 photographs, I would guess. I know I've got 40,000 myself, and you've been doing it way longer than I have. And they're of the things that make Highland, you know, the trees, the forests, the buildings. So between him and Al, they've done a great job. You're a crafter of the community. You've been on the planning commission. You've done over 1,000 meetings. That is just, I don't know anybody in the community that's been that devoted. You're the holder of history. When people wonder what was where and who was what, and you're the guy that has been here your whole life, and you hold that, and you're also a lifelong member of the Highland Historical Society. You're the king of the morning email that brightens everyone's day. I know everybody in Township Hall, when they don't get an email, they go, whoa, where's our email? So, and we all get our good chuckles out of it, and we appreciate that. You're a great friend to our community. And you're also just a huge asset to everyone and everything in Highland. As a supervisor, I'm very proud to have been your friend for more than 56 years. You've been a mentor, a teacher, a partner in making Highland the special place it is to all of us. Roscoe, you're a very special person. And we'd like to wish you a happy 90th birthday on March 10th. So if everybody could give him an applaud. Roscoe, we love you.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome. I hope I didn't embarrass you. You know, I know, I don't know what year you got your shoes though, your first shoes.
I have to say, pretty sneaky to get me here under false pretenses. and then cancel the item.
Well, we'll have to get you back on the next. Sometimes you do sneaky things, you know. So
thank you very much.
Those are the 2 things, but seriously, you've been just you know, I moved here from the city, from Berkeley, and you're one of the first people I got to know, and you know, you're old enough to be my dad, and it's just been great because you've never felt like that. You know, it's always been one-on-one, and it didn't matter how old either one of us were. There was no age difference between us in terms of how we worked with each other, and that's the way you've been to everybody. You know, you're an ageless character. We don't know how you do it, but we hope you the best and that you'll be continue on. We need you for 20, 30 more years if you can hang in there.
Roscoe, I think it's your Grecian formula 44.
I am what I am because of science and technology. There's no doubt. But I just want to say how lucky I feel that growing up in Highland. I can't imagine growing up anyplace else, and Highland formed me. And I just think not many people get to grow up in a place like Highland, and it's an amazing place to be. And I think you all understand what it means to be a Highland resident. So thank you.
So one more thing on that, Roscoe. There's a thing that you've said over and over again, especially in the DDA meetings and stuff, and that Highland needs a there. And I don't know that you realize it or not, but you are the there. You know?
Oh, gee.
So appreciate it very much. All right, so I think we've embarrassed you enough. We'll get with you on some other things here at a later point. So anybody else have any comments they'd like to make? This is for the announcements right at this point. Any announcements?
Do you want to announce the special board meeting?
Oh, yeah, I should do that. Oh. We're going to have a special board meeting on Monday, the 15th of March, 6:30 p.m. There'll be a couple of different items to discuss on it. Community sharing, which we were going to put on for their lease. We didn't get the lease completed together in time for them to look at it first. So we're going to get it to them, and then we'll release information on the 15th. There's also some stuff for the fire department that is time sensitive. So we've got that's what really stirred the meeting. And then the proposed purchase for potential parkland and cemetery land will be on that meeting as well. There's not a real big faux-pas, but a technicality that we have to cross the I's and cross the T's and dot the I's on. So we'll have that on there for that meeting. So that's it. I guess the next item is public comment. Anybody have any public comment?
1 second. Brian, I believe, is here. I see a box for him.
Yep. I am. I don't know where my camera's at, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And you're attending from where?
My Woodridge Court, Highland, Michigan.
Okay. All right. Now we can do public comment.
Okay, any public comment? Raise your hand or raise a little hand or speak up, whichever you want to do, if you'd like to say anything.
Bill Anderson here, Saddle Ridge, Highland. Now that we've got the fire chief on board, how many folks in your group have gotten their COVID shots? We were noticing in the paper that not many people stepped up in Milford. I was just wondering how Highland's doing.
I can't tell you the exact number. That's a HIPAA violation, but we do have quite a few of our members that have stepped up and gotten their COVID shot. I am one of them. That's the best I can give you. We've got quite a few of them.
All right. Anybody else have a comment? Okay, we'll move on. Next item is 2021 Community Development Block Grant application. We have to open a public hearing first. So the public hearing will start at 6:44. So does anybody have any comment for the CDBG Community Development Block Grant application?
Kelsey, if you wanted to speak, this is when you would.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you all for having me. And I know that it's not usual to meet on Zoom, but it has become our new normal. So I am grateful to be here. When I heard of the opportunity to speak with a group of individuals who are from Highland, I jumped at the opportunity. I grew up in Highland right off of Harvey Lake Road, and my grandparents live in Highland. So I'm a frequent visitor, if you will. So I am here today, and I am with Haven. I really want to thank you all for the help and support that you have given to Haven in the past. As you know, Haven is an agency that works with issues of intimate partner violence and sexual assault. Your support last year enabled us to serve 44 individuals from the Township of Highland. And we ask that you continue to support again this year. Our services enable survivors to receive free service and support to heal from the injustice of sexual assault and intimate partner violence. Anyone can become victimized regardless of race, socioeconomic status, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, culture, education, or religious beliefs. It transcends all of them. Most people know that we provide emergency shelter. That's what we're most known for, is the emergency shelter that we offer. But we offer so much more than just shelter. To help survivors heal through individual and group counseling, legal advocacy, PPO assistance, and safe, compassionate forensic exams when needed. Our crisis and support line offers crisis intervention, resources, and support for concerned individuals and victims. They're open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I was working with them today personally, and they really work hard and do a lot for our communities. Haven is especially proud of the growth of our community resource program. This program links survivors back to their communities with assistance on housing, jobs, finances, and much, much more. Recently, Haven was awarded a federal grant to fund our first ever transitional housing program. This program will provide low-cost transitional housing and supportive services to survivors for up to 24 months. The program will address a critical service gap at Haven, where survivors often struggle with steps between their exit from emergency shelter and successful obtainment of permanent housing. So to break the cycle of violence, we have to set up our survivors for success. And your support will help us to do just that. However, we do understand that, like us, we have limited resources, and the needs of the community are unlimited. So if you are unable to financially support us, we just ask that you spread the word of what we are doing with our programs and what we offer. Prevention education being a very important piece. It seeks to engage all individuals and communities to address and prevent sexual assault and intimate partner violence through age-appropriate training on gender respect, healthy relationships, consent training, and bystander intervention. Please connect with us, the leaders and decision makers in your, please connect with the decision makers in your education and school districts, so that way we can make a case for our services and what we have to offer. We at Haven feel that education is very important at every stage of life, and it is essential to ending intimate partner violence, which is our overall mission and goal. That is why we offer prevention education programs. We even provide training on intimate partner violence and sexual assault to professionals in the public and private sectors. Thank you all for having me tonight. And if you have any questions, I can take those at this time.
Anybody have any questions? All right, anybody else want to comment? Dave Bell, did you want to comment?
Yes, hopefully you can hear me. Thank you. Dave Bell, Board President, Community Sharing. I really want to thank everyone for past support. Just cannot acknowledge strong enough the wonderful support we get from Highland Township and the board. And I know we've asked a lot and we're on your agenda quite a bit regarding the building and the property at Beach Farm Circle. But besides all that's going on with the building, we do have our continued operating expenses. We're going to work harder and hopefully have a little more success this year with our fundraisers, such as a garage sale or golf outing, et cetera. But still, our opportunity is going to be limited until everybody gets all their shots and we can get back to normal. But thank you again for support of community sharing. Keep us in mind again as far as the operating expenses, and we appreciate your support in our mission to help feed hungry families. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. All right. Anybody else comment on the Cdbg application? All right, what I'll do is I'll close that public comment at 6:52.
I had a comment.
Yeah.
I want to say the fire station on 59 is moving along very well. I've stopped there a couple of times to talk to the workers. They're doing a great job.
All right, so you've got some internet problems, Joe? I think he does.
Do I have problems?
Internet problems. You've been able to.
I said the fire station on 59 is doing really well.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so we'll move on to new business. The first item is application. Jennifer, I'm going to throw it in your court here.
That's fine. So what you guys have in front of you is an application for the Cdbg, and it has a project 1, which is mobile home, minor home repair, which we have not done before, but we do get calls. And Oakland County Home Improvement can't help them because it's a mobile home and not a home that they own. And also, forgive me, I know it's, I call it Christmas in April, but it's something else now.
Rebuilding Together.
Yes, Rebuilding Together. They cannot do mobile homes either. So if we got a call that someone needs help, we usually direct them to churches in Highland. So this program, Oakland County administers it with OSHLA. So they would take in applications, and the money that we give them, they would use to do $5,000 or less for mobile homes. And then for the second project, we were proposing $8,986 to go to WODA, which is our senior transportation. That is a public service, and we can only use 30% of the total, which was $29,000. And we could, if the board wanted to, we could split that between Haven and WODA, like a $4,000 for WODA and then like $4,986 for Haven. If we did, we'd have to have 3 votes though. 1 for project 1, 1 for project 2, and 1 for project 3.
Or could we split it 3 ways with community sharing too?
So community sharing, we give 2 out of our general fund.
Oh,
they submit an application every year, along with youth assistance, which we used to do CDBG funds too. They also submit under our general fund.
But we did not put an allocation for Haven in our line item that we use for community sharing and youth assistance. So we didn't budget for that because we didn't have a request. So this is an opportunity to be able to help that. And I think that especially in this scenario we've got with all the people being at home and tied up and the stress that's been going on with this COVID situation, I think Haven's got their hands full. And I think this is a perfect opportunity that we could do that. And I'll speak for the bus program. I know it'd be nice to be able to have the full amount, but I think that we certainly could live with what has been offered here, the 4,000, and let Haven have a piece of that pie. Both of the programs, you know, the bus and Haven service part of the community that needs help. So I think it's a win-win there. And so, and anybody else want to make a comment on that?
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
This is Beth. I just had a couple of questions for the money that would go towards WODA. Are there any restrictions as far as what that can be used for?
Yeah, so it can only be for the operation of the program.
Okay. And what about for the mobile home section? It's $5,000 per applicant, and it's first come, first serve. And are there any restrictions as far as what minor home repairs include, I wonder?
So it's up to 5,000. So they could be less. And then, yes, there was a list, and I can try to find it. It's furnaces, it's things to make it livable. So windows, furnaces, I can find the list though.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And these are based on income levels.
Okay.
So it's the Oakland County income levels that they use.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, what we've done with the CDBG monies is to make repairs on the senior center
and then ADA, making our office ADA accessible to residents.
So this is an opportunity we've done everything we can here to spread that money out to some others that definitely need some help. And like I said, we've had people call in that are looking for help that are living in these mobile homes, and there's just not an avenue that's very open. This is one of them. So,
and I also wanted to mention that it's specifically for Highland Hills and Highland Greens. I did not list Ridgewood because I felt it was a newer community, but if you would like to, we could also put them on the list.
So Jenny, so you specified Highland Hills on here, and so even though they're not in the on the map,
correct. So they're
still covered.
Yep. So this doesn't have to be the area-wide benefit.
Okay.
So those, they took the census data, they took like the blocks and the tracks, and that's where they got those specific areas. This one's on an individual cases. So if you qualify for the income, then that could help you start the process, and then they would go from there.
Jenny? Oh, I just wanted to ask one more thing. How are they notified of the program, residents?
We have brochures. A lot of people, when they call our office looking for help, we do notify. So we kind of have a list, and along with the activity director, we've kind of gotten a list of helpful organizations that we can direct them to.
Good.
Judy,
Thank
did
you.
You have another question?
I was just going to say that when you sent the map, it really threw me because one of the boundaries is Highland Hills Drive.
Uh-huh. That's new this year.
And I'm like, oh, I thought it was Highland Hills Mobile Home Park. And
no, it's Highland
where
Green.
The confusion's coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, that area was new this year on the map.
Okay, and the second thing is, I would really like to, I like to spread it out, you know, as many different facets of our community that we can help. That's what we're here for. So I like spreading it out.
So we can do up to 4 projects, but with a minimum of 3,500 each. And total of 30, that 8,986 we have to divide it by any public service that we did.
I really like the idea of, sorry, go ahead.
So we could only really do the public service to 2.
Okay.
Then it brings it down too low.
All right, I'd like to throw Meals on Wheels out there too. I think it's really important that we, that program is just, for the most part, it's the only person that a lot of those people see every day. And just, it's a well check. So just a suggestion.
So with Meals on Wheels, I agree. In the past, I have had problems getting invoices from them to be reimbursed. And they may have different administration now, but it was actually really hard. So if our money is not spent in 2 years, HUD or CDBG will take it back.
Can we reallocate?
You can reallocate. Yep, reprogram.
Okay, so if we have a problem getting the invoices, we could reallocate.
Right. And with the amount that we have, we can only, I'm going to do the math, but I think we can only do 2 projects for 3,500 each. Okay. I don't think we can do 3. Let's see.
Mr. Supervisor, might I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Since we give 185,000 to WODA, I would like to suggest that we split it between Haven and Meals on Wheels.
Is Meals on Wheels qualified, Jennifer?
Yes, Meals on Wheels is qualified.
Okay. Well, here's the scenario. I can't vote on it if it's with it deals with WODA. So
well, I'm just suggesting that we spread it out. That's the only reason.
Well, let's get some more board members to, absolutely, if they want to do 2 or 3, 1, 2, or 3 for the public services.
Oh, I thought we could only do 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct. I'm sorry. WODA and Haven, or Haven and Meals on Wheels. Sorry. Or WODA and Meals on Wheels.
Well, I think that I'm going to throw my 2 cents in again, and I know Kim is on board listening probably. I think WODA could deal with that suggestion. You know, so if we did 4986 to Haven and 4,000 to Meals on Wheels, the key is that we get to the maximum number of people that money will work for. And you know, so the bus program, we're given strongly to that. And I see that point. When Jennifer was working on this program or project, her and I were consulting, you know, how do we divide this up? So that was we've always given to the bus program, and that's where it started. So,
right.
And this is just a 1-year thing. I mean, next year, another year, we can change the way maybe our other donation line or whatever.
Well, and last year they gave us 30,000 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was really cut. It was an increase last year because they had surplus.
Yeah. So somebody needs to. I think what we can do is somebody else needs to make a motion what they want to do with that. I made my opinion, so.
Okay, so Rick, you will be able to vote on anything that doesn't involve WODA.
Correct.
Mr. Hamill?
Yes.
You have to vote on everything unless you're excused by the rest of the board members.
Correct. I'll have to ask for their permission. So, but by CDBG requirements, I have to anybody that is on the board, elected official, blah, blah, blah. There's a big list in there.
Yep, if you're on the board of association that's asking us, or that we're going to allocate monies to, you do not get to vote on that one.
Right. So what Gary's talking about is this: the state law requires every board member to vote, unless that individual asks the board for permission to abstain. Correct, Gary?
Yes, or if allowed to abstain by the other board members.
Right.
So if you have a federal requirement that says you may not vote, that certainly sounds like a really good reason that the other board members would say, don't vote. I have faith in you.
So, all right. So, Jenny, why don't you make a recommendation?
Okay, so I make a motion to approve project number for the CDBG 2021 CDBG application, project number 1, mobile home minor repair, to allocate $20,970.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported.
I'm sorry, was that Judy?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
We'll need a vote.
All right, if we're ready to vote, Mrs. Frederick.
Oh, Frederick, yes.
All right, I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe, yes. And I want to apologize. I have no idea why my camera's not working. I'm trying to do everything I can, but I am here. So yes.
Okay. Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamill?
Hamill, yes.
All right, motion carries.
Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, I would like to make a motion for the 2021 CDBG application, project number 2 for Haven, to allocate $4,986.
Support. Howe supports.
Okay.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
All right. I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamill?
Hamill, yes.
All right, motion carries.
And then I'd like to make a motion for the 2021 CDBG application, project number 3, Meals on Wheels, to allocate $4,000.
Support, Lewis.
Beth can have it.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
All right, moved and supported. I can vote on this one. So vote, please.
Right. All right. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Hamill?
Hamill votes yes.
Motion carries.
All right, I'd like to thank Kelsey for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and we appreciate what you do. And
thank you guys for having us. Thank you, and thank you for supporting us again this year.
You're welcome. And then also to those board members that thought of alternatives to what we had addressed. I think it's a good idea. It's nice to give the money to the bus program because I've fought so hard for that. But at the same token, as Judy said, we do have committed a lot more than we did when I first started. So, and we need to do that to keep it rolling. But this is a great application. I've been working with Meals on Wheels to try and find them a home. And it's been very difficult, but I think a lot of people that's their one contact with other humans is when they get their meal delivered. So, all right, we'll move on to the next item. Purchase of BSNA for online assessing. Let me see if I can get there.
I have a class that I have to jump into, so thank you all for having me, and good night.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you read the memorandum, what's happened is there's a bill that was passed that's requires the townships to get themselves up to speed and get the assessing available for public access through going online. And so Karen Provo, our astounding assessor assistant, however you want to put it, has been very active in trying to keep us up on this stuff. And so we looked into what it would take to put BSNA online. If you wonder what I'm looking at another computer screen. And so there's two different options in there. And the option that we think is the right one is option number 2, where you pay for $4,200 annual fee for BSNA to sponsor it or manage it, and additional $2,100 for the user to be able to access assessing property sales search, which is something that we get real estate agents in all the time asking questions. So what it really does, it cuts down on the load that Karen has to deal with on a daily basis significantly, and it gets us compliant with the state House Bill 6049. So I guess I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the proposal from BSNA for option number 2 in the amount of $8,400.
Support, Sylvia.
Question.
Did I get that right? No, for $6,300.
Thank you.
I added the wrong 2 numbers together. Okay, support from Joe. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Supervisor,
yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask something really quick. It said that the prices are based on a parcel count of 8,340. If we go over that, or the price is still going to remain the same? Yeah,
there's an annual fee that for modifications, and I'm sure there'll be a minor upticks or corrections, but
okay.
I don't think there's going to be any big change if 2 or 3 add parcels or we split something else up.
Okay.
We'd have to go through more land divisions in order to make that happen.
Oh.
We're kind of those parcels, so. All right, then I'll ask for a vote, please.
Judy?
I have a comment too.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that this is going to be really helpful to the treasurer's office too. Probably almost all the calls that we get are realtors or tax people or just residents. So for everybody to be able to access this themselves, it's going to save the consumers time as well as the staff. So it affects quite a bit of the building. So this is a good thing.
Thank you. From the former treasurer. How's it feel?
Awesome. Just saying.
Well, your new cohort in crime is doing great.
Yeah, she is.
She's doing a great job. She comes into my office freaked out every day. I mean, it's amazing. She's got a great handle on it, doing a good job. So, all right.
I have very good support staff.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
But I've seen you whip them, and I've got to talk to you about that. No, not really. She does. We have a great staff in this entire building. It's been a phenomenal job. Phenomenal people in here. So did we vote on that? We did.
No.
We need to vote on that.
You ready to vote?
Yep.
All right, Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Lose him.
Do we lose Brian?
It looks like we lost him.
All right. If he makes it back before we're done, we'll get his vote. Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
All right. I don't think Brian made it back.
I didn't hear him ding in, so.
All right.
There he is. Well, get him in here.
Okay.
There he is.
Yep.
Brian, we need a vote in favor of what was it? The BSNA?
Right. BSNA online.
I said in favor of your choice.
Right.
Everybody else voted, so.
I vote yes.
Okay.
Sorry to kick me off. Oh my gosh.
It's fine.
All right. So the next item, our architect Mike O'Leary. I see him sitting pensively, waiting to attack this. What happened is Lieutenant Snyder came to me after he saw these beautiful plans of the proposal new Township Hall, and kind of gave me that look like, you know, am I like on the other side of the tracks? And wouldn't it be nice if we did something with the police building and the sheriff's office? And I went, yikes, didn't think about that. Well, anyways, he made an offer that I don't think we can refuse unless he wants to refuse it now. But he made the offer. He said there's plenty of money in his budget. Plenty of money doesn't mean he's just like throwing money away, but to cover the cost for this first part, and more than likely, hopefully the cost of it would be not as expensive as ours, Township Hall, but so he's, from his budget, he's willing to take the money for doing this project proposal that I'll let Mike O'Leary talk about in a minute. So anyways, the amount of money that we're talking about is about $32,600 approximately. And so that would be something that Lieutenant Snyder would take from his budget. Are you still on, Lieutenant?
Yes, I'm here.
Did I say everything correctly?
You said it perfectly. Yeah, I believe I have more than enough in my fund balance to cover the cost of this renovation.
Cool.
Can I clarify? When you said there's room in his budget, you meant there's room in the fund, correct? Because I don't believe it's the renovation was budgeted for. We'd have to do it.
It was not budgeted.
Okay, so we'll just have to do an amendment when we get that to pull together.
That's bookkeeping talk.
I'm sorry.
That's for those who don't know what we're talking about. All right, so Mike O'Leary, would you like to take over from here?
Sure, I can do that. Michael Leary from Lindau Associate Architects. Basically, our proposal that you have before you is our design services for renovating the exterior of the building to make it more harmonious with the current design of the Highland Township Hall. Our services will include redesigning the exterior, looking at getting a pitched roof put on the building, which will involve working through the existing flat roof and then creating a look that will be similar to what the Township Hall looks like. And we'll also, once the design is approved, we will then move in and do our construction documents and bid it with the construction of the Highland Township Hall. We anticipate that we would use the same contractor, which we are currently reviewing proposals from general contractors / construction managers. And we will oversee the bidding process, and we will also oversee the construction phase, all similar to what we're doing for the Township Hall. And then our proposal is broken down into each one of the schematic design schemes, the design development, the construction documents. We foresee a little bit of structural engineering will be needed once we get the roof design completed, and then bidding and construction administration. So that's kind of an overview of our proposal, and I can answer any questions that you might have.
So I got a comment just so that when you think about the engineering part, when Mike and I were walking around the building there, we noticed that on the flat roof part, the water runs over the edge of the building, and it's caused some issues with some of the brickwork. Now that could be just the brickwork, or it could be some other structural issue. So that's why we have to pay real close attention to the engineering part on that, to make sure that we're not dropping a truss on top of a wall that might not handle it. So right, tied together with the, rafters, flat ones albeit, or some type of a roof truss. But so, and then the other parts that we're trying to look at is we'll probably be working on looking at insulating the outside of the building, because that's the only way we can really do it. And I know Lieutenant Snyder came to my office and asked if there was a way that he could get a little more heat in his office. So I gave him a little electric heater, and hopefully we can do away with that, because his walls and windows are like freezing cold. They're just, that building's nothing but solid black. Right. So this would be a good opportunity to replace the windows that are shot and everything else. And should be make for a really nice addition to the look and feel of everything else we're doing. So instead of it looking like a stepchild out there. So, and Lieutenant Snyder, we appreciate your offer on this, because that helps everybody else as well. And your guys deserve it as well. So, right,
thank you for considering it. Thank you.
Okay, no questions, then I guess I'll make the motion to approve the expenditure of $32,600, and if need be, a signature by the supervisor to move the proposed professional services forward from Lindhout Associates Architects for the sheriff's renovation of the sheriff's building.
Support, Salvia.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Okay, Mr. Howe.
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamill.
Mr. Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
We're looking forward to this adventure. I was talking with my wife on Sunday just to kind of give you an idea of the thought process that have to go on. And I said, I think my plate's kind of full. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I still got a playground to deal with. I've got the fact that our architects are going to be booting us out of our building, and we got to be relocated in the fire hall, the old fire hall. We're going to be building a new building, and we're going to be working with community sharing. So she goes, well, how do you feel about that? I said, a little overwhelmed, but I know we can do it. So I think I'm the king of putting too many forks in the plate, but I use them all. So Mike, we appreciate it. Once again, I want to reinforce that the fact that we presented this to the Planning Commission as well, and everybody liked it. And I think that as a designer myself, and I've told Mike this already, that when you as a designer or an architect can sell your first design, that is a real blessing. That is where you've hit a home run. And, you know, Mike, you hit a home run on this. I think it's, everybody likes it the way it is. We didn't have to have it redrawn 5 times to get what somebody else thought they liked. So good job. And we'll let you go if you want to head on right. TV or whatever. Where, I don't know, you're in the basement or wherever you're at. Maybe it's worth it. Okay, thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, next item. This has been on in the budget for this is the 3rd year actually that I've had this in there. If anybody ever noticed, you used to be out on my tractor doing things at the township, and it's one of those things that you could pay somebody to go out and maybe plow sidewalks and so on and so forth. But over time, as we know with the parking lots, it adds up real fast. And it also, you're at the whim of having to wait for somebody else to take care of those things. So this is partly to take care of the pathway along M59, which by our agreement with MDOT is we are supposed to take care of that path. And we have not really done our due diligence, especially wintertime when people have, you know, really probably would use that pathway. Now I do know that there's some of the communities have said that they don't do it, but I guess we can talk to our attorney and our insurance people. But if you take care of it and people use it, that's what it's there for. And then the other thing is we have a lot of scenarios in the parks where Chris Kopacki sometimes has gone out and helped us out with his tractor, and I've been out with my tractor. And it's one of those things where if we had that front end loader to be able to take care of some of the logs and stuff that fall over the pathways, we can have that done. And we've got a really good maintenance guy right now to boot. So rather than buying smaller lawn mowers or a 4x4 side by side with a plow on it, what I've proposed, and I've researched it for a couple of years, is in your packet you'll see a John Deere tractor that's all-wheel drive. There's no cab on it, you know, so it would be cold in the winter, but we don't need the cab because those are elements that can get damaged easily. It's all glass. So the proposal is to purchase that, and so that the other thing is that we put these sidewalks in not only for the DDA, but also the safe routes to schools. And a lot of the people that have those sidewalks aren't physically able and old enough that they could kill themselves doing it. So even though there are quotes of take care of it, we just notice that they don't do it. So I think it just behooves us to take a little bit extra time, go out there and clean them up, and then maybe what we can do is get them to help us keep them clean. And so that's the intent behind it. Just to let you know, my tractor, to tell you how long these John Deeres last, my tractor, which worked for me for years, is 34 years old.
Wow.
And it still runs up the top. So this is the kind of machinery that when you purchase it, it's going to outlast any of the other vehicles that we have here in the building. And I don't want to waste any money putting a snow plow on the pickup trucks. You can ask the chief what happens on that. Don't answer, chief. So anyways, that's my proposal.
Question?
Yes.
Where do we keep this tractor?
It'll be kept in the building here.
Okay.
My office. No, it'll be in the garage. Ironically, our maintenance guy, we asked him to clean the garage up. And if anybody ever went in that garage, go take a look at it now. It's you could live in there. It's nice.
It's amazing.
it's almost a full 2-car garage now. So, but anyways, so I'd like to propose.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm sorry. I just had a quick comment.
Sure.
I would also just suggest what you mentioned, that we run it by your insurance carrier just to make sure the policy contemplates additional exposures of snow plowing, that type of thing.
Well, yes, I agree. We need to do that. But I think one of the things that what happens is people, if you're going to take care of it, you need to take care of it.
Right.
So if you show intent, you need to continue the intent. And I think it's unfortunate that so many of us bail and say, oh, you know what, if we do it, then we'll get sued and we'll have to pay.
Right.
Why did we put the sidewalks in the first place?
Mm.
It is Michigan, you know. So do fish have bones? Yes, they do. The sidewalks have ice. Does Michigan have snow? Yes, it does. So if you do a good job with intent to do it right, then we shouldn't have an issue with somebody suing. It's when you do a half job, you showed that you were partially doing it, that's when you get sued. So I think, but it's not just for snow. There's a little bit more global warming, less snow, although I like it. But so anyways, I'll make the proposal. I got motion.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Are you getting just a front bucket or a snow blade for it?
It's got a snow blade as well.
Okay, good.
It's not a hydraulic one. It's a manual left. So, I mean, if you can't get off the tractor and turn it one way and then the other, then.
So it's a back blade, not a front.
No, it's
okay.
It goes on where you take the loader bucket off and it goes on there. And then the loader bucket is a little bit unusual. It's actually like a clamshell. Hydraulic. It goes from so that you can pick up rocks, you can pick up logs, you know, you can go brush or move brush around. And then for the back of it, there's a rotary mower, a brush hog, as some people call it. And Jennifer will understand this. We were supposed to do pathways on that property for that we bought from Carl Jareen, and we never got a machine in there to cut the pathways. So that's what this is for. Be able to widen the pathways up, be able to mow areas by the park. On Duck Lake Road, if anybody notices, it's always grows up real dense. When you're trying to pull out, you can't see to the south. So this is the time to actually start having the machinery. You know, it's a one machine, and then we'll pay the for the fine mowing. We'll keep the Freedom Work people going. And they do a great job, and I think it's well spent. Help them out. But it is a diesel tractor. It's not gasoline, and I'm a kind of a fanatic about how machinery is made, and I've looked at all different manufacturers, and John Deere has always been one that I said, when you have a machine that starts every time and it's 34 years old and you worked it every week for those years, that's quite a statement. So, right. So, yes.
And just to clarify, we'd still keep the snow plowing contract?
Yes.
Okay. This is for maintenance.
Yeah, what this will allow us to do is that we can come in and we can do spot jobs because our contract actually says 2 inches.
Right.
There's times when, you know, the snowplow truck goes by after we've had our parking lot plowed and it rolls a whole bunch of crap right back into the thing. And this is where we could take the tractor and we could go clean it up.
Perfect.
And that allows for being able to handle things like that. So we can do a better job when the buses are over in the other building there. You know, some have to go in and take a bucket and back. So there's a lot of applications for that. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion. Let's see what I do. A motion to approve the purchase of a John Deere Model 2038R and listed attachments for $34,171.89, and to waive the purchasing policy for the following reasons. The pricing is Michigan State, my deal pricing, plus we get an additional 18% on top of that. It's a local dealer, it's support for a local dealer and a local taxpayer, and it's a local repair facility. So I think that's one of the things that as a board, for the years I've been on the board, we've always talked about, let's support our local taxpayers and our local business. So that's what this is about. That was
a question I had.
Yes.
That was a question I had, local.
Yeah, I looked at, I went down to what do they call that farm?
D&G?
No, that's D&G is the company that we're buying it from, but the store down there by
Supply.
Yeah, whatever that's called. And they have these tractors in there that are made in Korea that are really nice tractors. But all you have to do is ask them, where do I get it fixed? And they don't have any place to get them fixed. You buy it, you're on your own. And one of the things that, you don't do is you don't go buy a tractor from somebody else and then take it to your local guy to work on it. It's just not fair to them. And anyways, that's I made the motion. So
Frederick support.
Frederick supported. Okay.
Sorry, Brian.
Can we get a vote, please?
All right. Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Mrs. Flowers, I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe, yes.
Mr. Hamill?
Hamill, yes. And
Carries.
thank you very much. And when we get this thing, we'll have everybody take a ride on it.
Well, I only voted yes because I get to cut the pathway at Hickory Ridge Pines Park.
You're more than welcome to. All right. So thanks again. I appreciate it. The next item is EMS billing collection process. I hate to admit to this, but that went right over my head. I mean, I read that thing and it was just like, oh my God, what next? So who wants to define that? Chief, do you want to take it on, or Gary, do you want to talk about it? Who?
Can I just say a couple things about it real quick?
Sure.
So over the past couple of years, we've seen a decline or a slowed response from our prior EMS provider. We recognize the difficulties they were having, and over the past couple of years have prepared to inevitably, like we did in August of last year, take over EMS for the community. This is an additional service compared to what we were providing before in the past. We've ever provided in the past. We always had the ability to provide basic life support transport, but we've taken on the ability to transport with advanced life support. So as I've said in the different board meetings, we're basically bringing the emergency rooms to your living rooms. With that being said, I hate to bring up the idea of having to send people to collections for a service we're providing, seeing as they're our taxpayers and they do fund the fire department. But we've had to come up with a plan to pay for the new service we're providing. Prior to us providing it, it was provided by Star EMS. Star EMS, if you didn't pay them, you were taken to collections no matter what. We have a little more flexibility, and we will do everything we can to best service our citizens, but we have to, in order to stay in good standings with CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which is who sets the standards for EMS billing, we have to establish some sort of a collections process, which is what we're asking for tonight, is setting up a collections process with our billing company. I gave you a really brief overview of the system, how we plan on going to collections for certain insurance or certain transport services, for residents, for non-residents, and we've made the recommendation. We've gotten collection proposals from 3 separate companies. Merchants and Medical is actually the company that our billing company works with on a regular basis. And they are also the company that many of the surrounding fire departments that provide transport use as well. Again, I know this is kind of a tough pill to swallow, the idea of sending one of our residents to collections, but we have to set up a system in some way. If you look at a lot of the departments that provide EMS funding, and I think Gary, the attorney can speak on this, Gary, Waterford has an EMS millage. I'm comfortable with the, speaking of EMS, I'm comfortable with the ability to provide the services as we are now, but I need to include EMS in order to support our operations. So again, as I briefly described in the letter, our recommendation is to choose Merchants and Medical as the collection agent.
I can read lips.
All right. So ironically, it made more sense when I looked at it again. I think I just was overwhelmed looking through the documents for these different. So explain to me the 25% on, we give them 25% on collections as their fee?
So what happens is, if we choose to send a account to collections and they're able to achieve the collections process, they charge 25% of what's. If they have to go through the court system, involve a third-party attorney to further the process, then it's increased to the higher percentage.
Okay, so what I see happening here is I'm trying to think through the process for the whole deal. So what happens is, you say you go and you do a run, and then the fire department does the billing initially?
No, we have a third-party biller.
Okay.
Who enters our computer system, finds what we transported the day before, and extracts that information for the billing process. Okay. At that point,
then if they don't collect,
right? If they don't collect, respond, whatever the issue is, after 120 days, we're notified saying, "Hey, we've made every effort to collect the debt. How do you like us? How would you like us to proceed?" And at that point, we make the decision whether it's sent to collections or not. So once it goes to collections, the collection agent attempts to collect the monies. If they collect the monies, they subtract 25% of the fees they collect. If it has to go into a garnishment or something along those lines, that's a second party placement. And that involves different attorneys and a much more larger process.
Okay. Makes total sense now. You know, the different levels of billing. That's what I was kind of getting at. So, all right.
Mr. Hamill, can I address the board briefly?
Yes, Gary.
Yeah. So I've looked at Ken's memo, and I think you actually have 2 items to act on tonight. The first would be the process that he's outlined in his memo, and that would be act on that and then decide what collection company you want to do with a separate motion.
Okay, I'll ask you to do us a favor here and create a motion for the first part.
So the motion would be to approve the EMS collection process outlined in the fire chief's memo.
All right, so moved.
Support.
Okay, so we've moved and support by Judy Cooper. Vote, please.
Were there any questions?
Yeah, that was the right thing to do.
Okay.
Ken?
Yes.
I just had a real quick question, just for my own understanding how the process works really quick. I'm guessing that the first resort, the billing company is the patient's insurance company. So would I be correct in assuming that most of the accounts that go to collections are amounts that their insurance doesn't pay and then they're responsible for?
Correct. Yes. Or those that don't have insurance, or those that have a deductible, high level deductible. This is the first thing they've charged for the year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, let's vote, please.
Okay. Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamill.
Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so
Mr. Hamill, then the second motion, if you want to follow the chief's recommendation, deals with picking the company to do the collections. And
okay.
My only request there, and it's because my physical file where I've got notes already made on looking at the merchants and medical documents is at my office, and that's not where I'm at, would be that the motion there would be to approve and authorize the supervisor to sign the necessary agreements with merchants and medical, subject to approval by the township attorney.
So moved.
Support. Cooper.
Support by Judy. I don't know that anybody has any additional questions. If you do, go for it. If not, then let's vote.
So your motion was to approve merchants and medical?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
A much more concise way to say it.
Okay. All right, so we're ready to vote.
Yep.
I'm first, so I vote yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamill?
Hamill, yes.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is Tammy, you want to take that one?
I am still noting on the last one. All right, so there was a check request for the fund balance was left over in transportation to be paid out to WODA. And so this budget amendment makes that possible. And it's up for board review and approval.
All right, go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the budget amendment. What do I need in there? I'm sorry.
As presented.
As presented.
As presented.
Support. Cooper.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Is there any discussion or questions?
If you'd like.
Okay. All right, just making sure we're not leaving somebody out.
My smart answer to that was, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I say
all right.
Okay, vote please.
All right, Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Hamill.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. So on that note, we'll call the meeting adjourned.
Mr. Hamill.
Yes, sir.
Two requests.
Yes, sir.
Number one, take down the Lindhout proposal. Can you do that?
Do what?
You're sharing the screen.
So take down is that what he's doing? He's sharing a screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want me to do on that?
No, then I just wanted to introduce the board to the newest member of our municipal law team. It's Joellen Shortley. She came to us from Oakland County, where she served as corporation counsel for many years. And we're very happy to have her on board. And she's working on the community sharing project with me, and we'll be working on some other things as well with Highland Township.
Her name again?
Joellen Shortley.
Joellen. Nice to meet you.
She's here.
Nice to meet you,
Joellen.
I gotta find your face.
Where she is. I found her.
Right here.
How are you?
Welcome.
Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
I would like to thank all the people who participated. I think we had a record number of Zoom people tonight.
I have no idea how many.
Including a dog.
32.
We had 32 at one point.
Wow.
At one time. Thank you, people, for participating.
Good.
So is the board up for a closed session by remote means in the future? You wanna do that?
Yeah, we can. I figured out how to do it, Gary. So.
Well, between now and the 15th, we'll try to figure that out. So
we could do it now.
No, we can't.
Well, not really. I mean, just try to go into a room to get, I mean, however they do it.
Well, what you do is you just send everybody that's not on the board or in the meeting, you know, for the closed session, you send them to the waiting.
There's a way to do it, but we can figure that out. So
the waiting room guy. So
give you something
Justin knows how to do it.
So very nice to meet you, Joellen, right?
Ken?
Yes, thank you. Nice to meet you all as well.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. Anybody?
Now we can adjourn.